A pregnant woman named Noel John was returning from Jolburi to a distant village on the outskirts of Bangkok. The rickshaw stopped in front of a large mansion after crossing the village road. Noah told the driver, "Please wait here for a while. I'll be back." The driver nodded in agreement, and Noah pushed open the gate and stepped inside. It was a grand house, with a lush garden beside it. As she walked through the courtyard, her eyes suddenly caught something moving behind an upstairs curtain, as if someone was watching her. Startled, she stepped back, and just then a voice called out from behind. It was Joy, quick and lively as always, her mouth moving as rapidly as her words. "Well, well," Joy said with a smirk. "You must be one of those people who get scared even when a leaf moves. So are you looking for a room? Come with me." Joy took Noah to meet Samjit, the caretaker of the house. After settling a bit, Noah told Samjit that she had come looking for her husband. A year ago, he had come to this very village for work. He had promised he'd return soon, but he never did. Not even a single letter came from him. Before she could say more, Samjit interrupted sharply. "I don't have time to listen to long stories. This isn't an ashram where anyone can stay as they please. Especially not a woman whose child's father can't be traced." Then, softening only slightly, she added, "It's evening already. You can stay here for the night. But one more thing." She paused and pointed sternly. "Never, under any circumstance, go near Madame Ranjwan's room across the garden. She prefers to live alone. Keep that in mind." Noah sighed in relief. At least she had a roof over her head for now. Joy arranged a small room next to hers. That evening, while bathing, Noah felt an uneasy presence, as though someone was moving near the bathroom. A faint shadow caught her eye. Curious and nervous, she grabbed a lantern and stepped outside. When she reached the garden, she noticed offerings placed neatly on a small shrine, flowers, candles, fruits. As she went a little further, she saw a figure digging into the ground in the darkness. The moment she spotted it, the shadowy shape darted away. Then she glimpsed an old woman slipping past the wall at the edge of the garden. Not wanting to risk anything in an unfamiliar place, Noah quickly went back inside. But that night, she woke suddenly to find a silent figure standing beside her bed. The next morning, as light seeped into the room, Noah sat quietly, lost in memories of her husband. He had promised to finish his business and return to her soon. She had trusted him completely. That faith had betrayed her. Joy entered and, seeing her face, tried to lift her spirits. "Madam will surely do something to help you. Trust me. The fact that she lets someone like me stay here says a lot." As Noah calmed down, she asked Joy about the old woman she had seen near the garden the previous night. "Oh, her name's Arab," Joy said with a shiver. "She's mad. Never leaves her hut during the day, never talks to anyone. But when night falls, she wanders around the garden." Noah's curiosity grew. "Last night, I saw someone digging in the garden," she said. At this, Joy's face went pale. "Listen," she whispered. "There are many secrets buried within these walls. It's better if you keep your distance, especially from that shrine." She leaned closer and added, "Every 2 weeks, by Madame Ranjwan's orders, we place offerings there, food, flowers, incense, for a certain spirit. People say a young woman once hanged herself from that big tree at the corner of the road. Those who pass by at night sometimes swear they still see her hanging there." As dusk fell again, the air grew heavy and still. From Madame Ranjwan's room floated a soft, haunting melody, a song so familiar that Noah froze. She had heard that tune before, and how could it not be? At the old Cholburi restaurant. That very melody was the one Chop, the man she loved, had played on his violin the first day they met. It was love at first sound. That night, on her way home, a man tried to take advantage of Noah, but Chop stood up for her, defending her without hesitation. That act of courage alone was enough for her to fall deeply in love with him. The next morning, while wandering through the garden, Noah noticed someone sitting on the balcony. But when she looked again, the figure had vanished. Nervous yet intrigued, she placed a flower at the shrine and walked back. But as she neared Madame Ranjwan's room, she suddenly saw Samjit approaching and hid behind a tree. Of course, it was impossible to hide from Madame's watchful eyes. When confronted, Noah quickly explained that she had just come to see the flowers. After a moment of silence, Samjit asked quietly, "Tell me, Noah, do you believe in ghosts?" Noah shook her head. Samjit gave a small, grim smile. "Belief or disbelief, it's all a matter of experience. I've been here since childhood, and after everything I've seen and heard in this place, I can no longer not believe. They're everywhere, around us, always watching, perhaps even listening to us right now, so don't wander around at night." As soon as Samjit left, Noah once again heard the faint sound of digging, but this time, she didn't dare to go and see. Later that evening, Noah and Joy were talking about Madam. Joy laughed, saying, "Who even believes that woman? Always roaming around in lantern light, wrapped in that long dress, telling ghost stories like she's in some horror movie." But as they talked, a strange thing happened. Outside, in the dark, a little girl stood quietly listening, smiling faintly, and she wasn't alone. Several shadowy figures stood behind her, half hidden in the darkness of the house, as if they wanted to speak. In the middle of the night, Noah woke to a soft knock at her door. She blinked, startled. There, outside the mosquito net, sat a little girl playing quietly on the floor. The child looked up and said in a sweet voice, "Will you play with me?" When Noah reached out toward her, the girl giggled and ran off, stopping in front of an old, locked antique room. But by the time Noah caught up, the girl was gone. It was as if she had flown away like a bird. Just then, Samjit appeared, her face twisted in fury. She grabbed Noah by the throat, shouting incoherently. Somehow, Noah managed to break free and escape. That was the moment she decided she wouldn't stay in that house for another second. At dawn, she packed her bags and prepared to leave. But as Joy tried to calm her down, Noah suddenly went into labor. With Joy's help, she gave birth to a baby right there in the house. Joy told her to rest and took the newborn's umbilical cord outside to burn it in a clay pot. According to local belief, if the remains of a newborn are left carelessly, evil spirits, pishaks, may come to feed on them. As Joy stepped into the dark garden, the air felt heavier than usual. Old Arab, the madwoman, stood near Noah's window, watching her intently. Meanwhile, Joy heard that same unsettling sound again, the sound of digging. Frightened, she dropped the pot and ran. As she did, a hand reached out from the darkness and take the pot away. Later that night, Noah woke up suddenly. Looking toward the garden, she saw a mysterious man walking slowly toward Madame Ranjwan's quarters and disappearing inside. Meanwhile, Samjit came rushing out of the antique room, locking the door behind her before running to Madame's quarters. She had been summoned. The next morning, Samjit informed her that Madame Ranjwan wanted to see both her and the baby. When they arrived, Samjit told Noah to wait outside. Madame took the baby in her arms and said softly, "Bring the child to me every day." Noah agreed politely and turned to leave, but as she was about to close the door, something caught her eye, a shadow of a man inside Madame's bedroom. She froze. A mysterious hand reached out and touched Ranjwan's shoulder. Under that shadow's warm, ghostly caress, Ranjwan's body went still. Her face softened into a trance of lost desire. That night, Joy came knocking on Noah's door, pale with fear. "Can I sleep here tonight?" she begged. "Strange noises are coming from the old woman's room. I swear, she's the Pishach." Annoyed and exhausted, Noah decided to check for herself. She took a lantern and walked through the dark corridor. The door to Arab's room creaked open. Inside, she saw the little girl again, the same one from before, sitting on the floor. Noah watched silently as the child turned her head and whispered, "Will you play with me?" Then, in an instant, the child bolted. Noah ran after her, but couldn't catch up. The entire garden was draped in a dreamy, perfumed darkness, the air thick with the scent of flowers. When Noah reached the antique room, she found the lock open. She stepped inside and discovered a large chest in the middle of the room. "What's inside?" she murmured, just as Joy appeared behind her. Noah quickly told her about the child, but Joy's face went blank. "There's no child here," she said flatly. Terrified, they locked the door and went to check on Arab, only to find her fast asleep, snoring softly. Their suspicion had been wrong, or so it seemed. The next morning, Noah took her baby to Madame Ranjwan again. But as she crossed the garden, she couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. When she entered the room, Madame wasn't there. Just as Noah turned to leave, a voice said softly from behind, "Leave the child here." Noah hesitated. She didn't feel right about leaving her baby alone. Madame appeared then, her gaze piercing. "Don't you trust me?" she asked quietly. "I only asked you to bring the child because she reminds me of something I've lost. You see, beauty isn't everything. For all my grace and charm, I could never conceive a child of my own." She said no more. On Madam's command, Noah left the baby and walked out of the room. As she passed through the garden, her eyes fell on the clay pot, the one that was supposed to contain her baby's umbilical cord. It was still there, unburied. A cold realization struck her. So Joy never buried it. But why would she lie? When Noah went to confront her, Joy was nowhere to be found. The whole house felt eerily alive, as though unseen eyes were following her from every corner. Then she heard it, the baby's voice. Soft, rhythmic, and strange, reciting something in the tone of a poem. Hearing a sound, Noah turned to see the antique door rattling, as if someone was trying to open it. When she peeked inside, she saw a shadowy figure and instinctively stepped back in fear. The door suddenly creaked open on its own. Strange. There was no one inside. Just then, a knocking sound came from the chest inside the room, startling her. And at that moment, Noah woke up. So it was a dream? Samjit was entering through the door. The moment she saw him, she flared up in anger. "You took this long to open the door?" she snapped. Pointing at the child, she said, "This is your last warning. I don't want to see you near the antique room again." Noah was shaken. If this really was a dream, why would Samjit say something like that? As time passed, she found herself growing increasingly helpless. What kind of danger had she walked into while searching for Chop? Then, she heard a familiar tune, the sound of a violin. Following the sound into the garden, she saw Chop playing the violin. Overwhelmed by a storm of sadness, pain, and joy, she ran to him and hugged him like someone possessed. Chop stayed silent for a moment before calmly apologizing. He said it was impossible for him to return. He had lied to her. In truth, he was staying here with someone else. That's why, even after making promises that day, he couldn't come back. Noah was stunned. Who was he living with here? Before she could finish her thought, a realization struck her. She remembered the rumors that Madam was secretly keeping a handsome man in her bedroom. Was Chop the man in those whispers? Was he Madam's secret lover? Chop gave no answer. Were all her days of waiting in vain? Would her child never know its father? When Chop asked her to accept the painful truth and leave, Noah's stubbornness kicked in. An argument broke out between them. Unable to handle the mental pressure, Noah collapsed. When she regained consciousness, she found herself still lying in the same spot in the garden. Chop hadn't even helped her up. Suddenly, she heard a child crying. Panic-stricken, she rushed to Burama's house, but there was nothing in the cradle except a broken doll. Burama took one look at Noah and ran away. Then again came the sound of a child crying, but this time from Madam's room. Furious, Noah rushed there to save her child. Today, she would settle everything once and for all. She wanted her husband and her child back. Ranjwan, angered, replied that she never took anyone's husband. In fact, Chop was her legal husband, and the person he had an affair with was none other than Noah herself. Noah could hardly believe any of this, but the wedding photo hanging on the wall seemed to scream the truth out loud. Noah was emotionally broken. Day after day, she was being battered by disrespect and deceit. When Ranjwan gave the child back and told her to leave the area forever, Noah didn't wait a moment. That night, she quietly left. But just as she crossed the garden, Chop appeared and blocked her path. Noah begged him to run away with her, but Chop refused, as if an invisible force was holding him back. "I still have many things to do," he said. "It's not possible for me to go." The man she had been seeing all this time, the shadow digging the soil in the garden night after night, wasn't a stranger at all. It was Chop. And in that moment, the truth unraveled. He had gone straight to Madame Ranjwan with one intention, to ask for a divorce. That night, Chop ended it once and for all. But he never got the chance to return to Noah, because Ranjwan killed him. She ended his life in a fit of fury and buried his body deep in the garden, the same place Noah had often seen someone digging in the darkness. Now it was clear. What she had been seeing all along was not a man, but Chop's restless spirit. Terrified, Noah turned to run, a monstrous ritual she had hidden beneath her friendly smile. Noah ran for her life, stumbling through the garden. In the distance, she saw the little girl again, her eyes unnaturally wide, playing with something invisible, giggling. When Noah reached the front of the house, black, shadowy figures surrounded her, dozens of them, their hollow eyes burning faintly in the dark. She darted toward the antique room for safety, but what she saw inside made her blood run cold. Samjit was there, crouched on the floor, gnawing on a rat. The moment she saw Noah, she shrieked, "How many times did I tell you never to come here? How dare you?" Now the truth was too much to bear. The spirits were closing in, whispering, moaning, their shadows flickering across the walls. Noah clutched her baby tightly to her chest and stumbled out into the night. The darkness was heavy. The only sound was the relentless hum of crickets. In the distance, a rickshaw appeared. Noah screamed for it to stop, waving desperately. But the driver, seeing her wild eyes and blood-stained dress, pedaled faster. And then, everything came rushing back. Months after Chop's death, Noah had indeed come to this house once before, following the address he had left behind. She had met Madame Ranjuan then, and heard the exact same words Ranjuan had spoken to her again only days ago. That day, unable to bear the truth, the betrayal, the lies, the grief, Noah had walked away from the house, reached the curve of the road, and hanged herself from the very tree. Since then, none of them, not Chop, not Samjeet, not Joy, not even Ranjuan, had ever truly left. Their unfulfilled souls were trapped in that cursed mansion, bound by love, betrayal, and guilt. And so, even now, Noah's ghost waits beneath that same tree, night after night, watching the road.